I asked you the question about what communities families feel safe in, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about the Judeo-Christian U.S., everybody feels safe to be in an environment like this. You're going to be fine, right, to be in an environment like this. Why do you think the opposite is not true? Why do you think Christian families who are leaving their countries, they don't think about moving to Iran? Why do you think they don't think about moving to different Muslim? Why do you think they don't think that?
This is one. I will answer the question, but just let me do it in this slightly roundabout way. This is one of the reasons why I'm worried about this anti-Westernism and anti-Americanism, which I see coming from right and left at the moment. Is that there's a deep failure of recognition of what it is in our societies that's worked. And I think we're at risk of killing the golden goose by saying the gold isn't golden enough. And the things that work in our society are very fundamental. What the framers, the founders, the framers of the Constitution realized. Maybe the only successful revolution in the world. They realized that things like freedom of conscience, freedom of speech were absolutely the bedrocks. And that if you didn't get them, then the rest could not follow. If you don't believe in freedom of expression, freedom of belief, freedom of worship, a whole set of other problems come. They essentially, as I see it, fall down to the fact that if you are in error, you cannot correct it.
If you are in an error, you cannot correct it. Unpack that.
So this is what John Stuart Mill, for instance, one of the great philosophers of liberty, unpacks in one of his most famous works on liberty. Mm-hmm. The free speech, the necessity of free speech in a society comes about in part because if you are wrong, you need to know you're wrong. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, if you're running the economy and it's not working, instead of keeping on allowing it to not work, you have to have your ears and eyes open for a system that works. And it's by the way, one of the interesting things I find about markets guys in general is their ability to pivot. In a way, by the way, it just goes back slightly to the politicians issue. One of the reasons I'm interested in the way in which market people think is that it's very, very different to the way that politicians think. Politicians can see a wall and they drive towards it at the same speed or faster, and you say wall, 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 and then they hit.
Yeah.
A market guy, you say wall and they move. This is a very, very different instinct. Now, but to go back to this, the ability to correct yourself if you're in error is absolutely key. The lack of information that has been available in not all, but much of the Islamic world for many centuries has caused a deep stagnation in those societies. And as I see it, the oil-rich countries like Qatar and Saudi, although Saudi is interestingly pivoting at the moment, very successfully, really, they have been in the same situation that European monarchies were like in, let's say, the 14th, 15th, 16th centuries, which was they could not grow the economy. There was no such concept, really. You had resources, in those days, sheep and crops, as today the Gulf countries have oil. But that money was held by a small number of people, and there was just no other way of squeezing money from them other than squeezing them further in some form of taxation or invading a neighbor and taking their stuff. Much of the Muslim world, I think, has failed to grow in the way that the West has succeeded in growing in the last few centuries. And this causes many things. One of them is a deep resentment. And one of the most important insights I've ever stumbled upon in my life in relation to that is there's a particular problem in the Islamic world which people don't really talk about very much, but it's this, that the Quran is meant to be the final revelation of God to man. final revelation. There is none after it. And all the revelations that come before in the Abrahamic religions are part of Islam. If you are the recipients of the final word, and you are the followers of that word, and the followers of that prophet and that God, why is your society not working? And why are other societies working? I think this is a deep psychological problem within much of the Muslim world, which is we thought we were the winners theologically. We're the ones who got the final revelation. And I think, by the way, that much of the anti-Americanism, the anti-Zionism, and anti-Westernism in much of the Muslim world falls down to this fact somewhere at its root, which is how come they're doing better than us when we were told that we were best? And I think it causes serious cognitive dissonance. It's one of the reasons why the Muslim world is so vulnerable to conspiracy theory. It's why when a shark attack happened at Sharm el-Sheikh 10 years ago, the local authorities said that the shark that had eaten the bather at the most popular tourist resort in Egypt had been sent by the Zionists. This is like seeing the hand of the West. So it goes back to our earlier conversation. Seeing the hand of the West in other things is an explanation for why the things are not doing well there. And in country after country, whether it's Egypt, which is doing comparatively well compared to some of them, or Iran, as well, the immiseration of the people, the inability to unleash talent, and much more comes back to this small number of people benefiting and having no idea how to unleash talent underneath. That and political and personal and religious freedom, including freedom of speech and freedom of worship, are the absolute prerequisites. And that is why I cannot understand the suicidal anti-Westernism within our societies in our time. Because, as I like to say, the footfall should tell us everything. Nobody, as you say, is trying to go to Iran in order to have freedom of religion. Nobody is going into communist China for a better life. Certainly not from the West.
They have a negative net migration, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And this is why when I think of the sort of college students who believe that no one's had it so bad as you do in 2024 at Berkeley, one of the things I'm sort of amazed at is do you not notice that the world wants to come here? And do you not think there might be a reason for that? And do you not think that it might be because there are some things that we've done well here, and that if we've done well with them in the past, we should hold on to those things?
Yeah. Listen, we get a lot of messages that, hey, how do you guys get your stories? Everything you've been doing. Eventually, I decided to invest a lot of money into it, hired 15 machine learning guys to make a new site available to you guys. We wanted to build it for us, but we're making it public to everybody. It's a freemium. Then there's 2 different paid aspects to it called vtnews.ai. I'm going to play a commercial for you. This is the first time you're seeing a commercial to understand what this is all about. This is an aggregated site where you need to only visit one news site that feeds everything in from others. No bias. We're not writing the articles. Other people are writing it, and you get to read the article and say, this is a left source, this is a right source, this is center. Rob, play this clip. Go for it.
There are currently 8.2 billion people on Earth. 6.9 billion use their smartphones to read an astonishing 2 million news articles every day. Before you read another news article, it's important to understand how news outlets make money. Change, conflict, controversy. In other words, the angrier you get, the more money they make. So how do you get your peace of mind back when every outlet has their own motive?
The media leaving out the full context of what Trump was saying, instead pumping out these types of headlines.
Left-leaning, right-leaning. Who can you trust? Introducing vtnews.ai, an innovative news source that uses AI and machine learning to deliver a more human understanding of what's going on. There's more than one side to every story. Who's covering it? What are their agendas? Why is one side reporting a story when the other side is ignoring it? VT News shows them all. access to 130,000 news sources, most advanced AI in news, ability to chat with VT AI, bias meter showing the number of left, right and center sources. Lopsided stories are clearly identified. News timelines covering the lifespan of the story and predictions. Bring the pursuit of truth to your fingertips. Visit vtnews.ai, your only destination for news.
Sick.
We are so
That was
excited
sick.
about this. We are so excited about this that finally this product is here that we can release to you. We shared this at the Vol conference. The reception was absolutely insane. For those of you guys that run podcasts or you're busy like me, you're somebody that's an executive businessman, you're running around, you got a lot of things going on. You don't have time for a lot of things. You just kind of want to see the motives and the bias on the stories. Go become a member. There's 3 tiers. The freemium, you got the second tier and a third tier that gives you unlimited amount of questions and customization for your own news, including local. Mess around with it. Go to vtnews.ai. We got a lot of big plans with this year because it's another one of those businesses that feeds into what we're doing. Again, go to vtnews.ai, become a member, take advantage of the freemium or anything else that it offers for you. And we're excited about other things that's coming in the future with this.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.